Hey Dojo, I'm exiledsurfer, and I'm here to do the video for the questions that were submitted to Luca. Shout out to Luca for all your hard work, and thanks for organizing this, and we'll get right into it. So the first question comes from Gorfiend, and Gorfiend asks, there are many BTC maximalists who maybe would support Sovryn, but they don't know about the project. Do you plan on contacting the biggest names? I find this to be an interesting question. Everybody has an idea, a different idea about who the big names are. My names that I consider to be the big people in Bitcoin are probably different than other people in the team and different from people in the community. As a result of our team being primarily pseudonymous and very, very few of us being public figures, many people aren't aware of actually how long it is that we've been in this space and how many connections we have. Eden and I have both been in Bitcoin from the first days, from the time of the white paper. I myself was the system administrator at the Bitcoin Foundation, was the moderator of the forums there and also on Bitcoin Talk. So the people who I know in Bitcoin are back from the time like where there was literally only 100 or 200 of us, where you could speak with people like Peter Todd and Adam Back, and the list goes on and on and on. Early people like Roger Ver and Eric Voorhees and all of these different people. So in terms of my own personal contacts online, I engage with these people on Twitter, and I think that one of the hardest things for newcomers to the space to understand is all of the sort of like internal dialogues that happen between people that have been around for a long time, and what's couth and what is uncouth. And one of the hardest problems that Sovryn faces in this what is couth and what is uncouth dialogue that happens online is the fact that we have a token. And it's really, really uncouth to talk about your token in any way because it's looked at as shilling. And that's in direct conflict with things like influencer marketing. So big names, if you look at somebody like Pompliano, who goes out and announces that his syndicate is invested in the project, the amount of hate that's dropped on him from BTC maximalists as a result of talking about a token, shilling a token, is literally immeasurable. So I don't think that it is that people who are that are big names in the space don't know about Sovryn. I think that it is that it's more a case of what's called Bitcoin as a pet rock syndrome or head in the sand syndrome that we've been swimming against. I do think that that the dialogue has shifted around Sovryn. We see a lot more accounts of what I would consider the big names engaging with us, discussing with us about Sovryn and governance tokens. You can look to the Twitter feed exactly right now. There's a dialogue going on between Grubels and Udi Wertheimer and Exelion from Blockstream. This was not happening 6 months ago. And so we've successfully, I think, shifted the dialogue where people are talking about the utility of a governance token on L2 solutions. Additionally to that, though, I mean, we are always talking to big names in the space. As a matter of fact, coming up at the end of this week is the Chaos Conference in Prague at Parallelny Polis. So I'm one of the members of Parallelny Polis. It's a nonprofit organization that's been around since the early days of Bitcoin here in Prague. We're the founders of Trezor. We're original founding members, also of Slush Pool. It was the first place that you could pay with Lightning to buy coffee. It runs totally 100% on Bitcoin. And one of the reasons that we're sponsoring the conference this year is because it is where it is all of the, so big names and insiders gather to speak about Bitcoin. Bitcoin core programmers come. like Peter Todd and Eric Limbroso and numerous other names. Early Bitcoiners like Jörg Platzer, Adam Back is here regularly, Andreas Antonopoulos. So it's a very, very credible, I don't want to say insider, but credible group of peers that talk about Bitcoin. So take a look at that at the site there, chaos.hcpp.cz, and you can take a look at the list of speakers and see what the agenda is. Parallelly Polis also has content on YouTube, which you can follow back and look back and see all the people that have spoken here and the things that are being spoken about. So we are very, very active in terms of reaching out to people about Sovryn and engaging with them. The next question comes from Matt Brad. And Matt Brad has a marketing idea for a certain time period for 2 weeks to have daily spin the wheel roulette on the homepage of the DApp. And prizes include winning different amounts of SOV, XUSD, or fish. And to get this sort of like roulette wheel trending on social media channels. So I think it's a very, very cool idea. So right now, up until now, we've had very, very few resources to actually do these types of implementations. The Sovryn DApp, as it is that you see it as a website, is an application that's built in React that calls up all of the smart contracts and all of the data and displays it in a UI. And it's not really so simple to just build something and put it in there. There's design consideration, there's data considerations, and things like that. The creative team led by Sue and the front end team have been mainly focused on other tasks. So implementing, something like this is literally like developing an application for it, and takes a bit of thought and a bit of resources. I'm definitely going to be passing this on to the team as a suggestion. What it is that you are going to be seeing coming up though now is a lot more activation programs like this, which we'll be using, viral marketing software to be implementing. These things have been in the works in terms of planning since Malva joined the team, who I'll be handing over to at the beginning of next month. So this is definitely something that I'll put in the pipe for their consideration, and look forward to the other types of activations that we're going to be doing with giveaways to get people engaged in Sovryn. So that's definitely coming up. So he also goes on to say that it would be really cool to get Robinhood sex listing that would bring millions of traders to DeFi and Bitcoin. So I'd like to take the time right now to discuss actually how that process has worked up until now, and how it is that we're in the middle of Sextember, or Sexodus, as many of the community members are calling it. So right now, the two sexes which have already listed SOV, Ascendex, and Gate, were early investors in the Pomp Syndicate round. And when the syndicate was announced, it was led by Pomp, but many of the investors chose not to come forward that they had bought into the syndicate and invested into Sovryn. And so the timelines for them to make the announcements was basically their call. And it's not a simple thing to actually coordinate a sex listing. It involves many telephone calls. It involves the engineering side. It involves coordinating the marketing side. And as you know, we have a third one coming up this week. And early on, we were looking at, 2 months ago when we were planning actually the dates for the listing, was whether or not to choose to do all three of the sex listings on one day, or to do them out over the course of a matter of days. Our original intent was to coordinate the three sex listings over the course of 1 week. But in terms of dealing with different companies, different time zones, all of the contractual agreements and all of these things, it came out to the timing that it is that you guys are seeing now, where the next listing will be on the 29th. They'll be coming out on the 28th with the announcement that it's going to be happening on the 29th. So we've communicated very, very often that when people are saying, hey, when are you going to be on this sex or whatever, that, that we're not going to be paying for listings. And so people need to understand that there's a certain cost actually in terms with doing all of doing what needs to be done for a sex listing. And primarily this is driven by the sexes themselves and not by us. If we reach out to somebody, they might or they might not respond. And actually the better case is when the sexes reach out to you. So part of our marketing strategy, not in terms of marketing SOV as a token to retail, is that with the sex listings that we're marketing the token to other exchanges. And so what we have seen now is that as a result of the first two exchanges becoming public, that now other sexes are getting in touch with us. We don't have a team internally that is only focused on sex listings. The responsibilities are spread out across many, many team members, those of us that have time, those of us that have the experience and the knowledge to move that process forward. But I can assure the community that that's all looking really, really positive, that there's a lot of interest in other listings on other exchanges that are in various stages of communication. So the next question comes from Tom F. Tom F asks, how do you see your current future role in Sovryn's marketing team? So I didn't actually, the marketing team was not what it is that I was doing Sovryn. I was brought on to be the community lead and spent the time building the wiki team, the translators team, and the community management team. And Slider was my predecessor, who had managed the marketing for the token launch, who departed for personal reasons. And so there was a hole in the organization, and we looked at where it is that we were in, and where it is that we wanted to go. And Eden and I spoke together about building the new team together. We went out on the search, and we found Malva, which turned out to be an excellent decision. Malva has brought all of the type of organizational and planning skills to the organization to professionalize it, which we didn't have. Just a bunch of people moving intuitively and doing what it is that we felt was organic. And you've heard me speak on the community calls about moving to more data-driven decisions. Malva's bringing that whole thing into the mix. I will be, as of October 1st, stepping out of any sort of responsibility for the marketing team, and will be participating as an asset. Probably see me doing more content, working together with Anita Posh, doing a weekly show on YouTube that Yago and I will be alternating on, in addition to the content that she's already producing. I will probably, always be involved in the communications and interfacing with the marketing team and assisting their efforts, but I won't be having any actual official remit. Tom also goes on to ask, where in marketing Sovryn struggles the most right now? Well, our struggle has been so far in building a team, which we've largely accomplished now in moving internal resources around. You guys are familiar with Unicum and the GIMP and maybe Ponginge that have been moved out from other responsibilities that they've had in the organization into marketing. We've primarily now been engaging external agencies, numerous ones for different types of deliverables that we need in the project. There's Function Labs, which is primarily doing branding and the new website and messaging, also audience surveys. We have an agency that is called Gorilla Buzz, which is primarily responsible for generating earned content. And earned content means that it's the type of content that is not promotional, but is written about Sovryn. So getting our key messaging out to journalists and sites that write about crypto is what Gorilla Buzz does. We also have an agency called X8C, which is a social media marketing agency that are amplifying Sovryn's key messages across different Telegram channels, on Reddit, on 4chan, on Twitter. They've been doing an excellent job. We've seen a major uptick in the amount of followers that are coming to our channels and people that are aware of Sovryn. That's really great. We're also working together now with an agency called The Tie, and The Tie is essentially, if you can imagine, a Bloomberg terminal level of information about what's going on in crypto, that are advising us about when it is that we do our announcements, when we do our product announcements, when we do token launches, and providing us with all of the data it is that we need to be making those decisions. So all of the things that we've actually had trouble around accomplishing are essentially in motion now and moving forward under Malva's leadership for the next quarter. I think that from my point of view, the thing that is hardest for us is essentially, you know, the tribal maximalism that I started off speaking about at the beginning of the AMA. That Ethereum people aren't interested in anything that's on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin people aren't interested in anything that even touches or has a cent of Ethereum. And so that's the major battle to be fought, so to speak, is getting people from both sides to see the necessity for and the benefits of this convergence between Ethereum's EVM with composability on a Bitcoin sidechain. So it's primarily, you know, very, very high level bike shedding technical debates that are also so colored by ideology that is the biggest struggle. That's in terms of people that have been around for a long time in crypto. What it is that I've noticed is that people that are coming into crypto post 2018, post 2019, even earlier, they don't have these biases, and they do pick up on the messaging about what it is that's beneficial about Sovryn. I think we're also being aided incredibly well by the regulators and nations doing our work for us in terms of attacking centralized exchanges, talking about regulating DeFi at the edges of the network. Sovryn is obviously placed in an area that, you know, intentionally it can be as far away as possible from the type of regulation that centralized exchanges are going to be facing. But so a lot of work is being actually done for us by established institutions that are challenging the network effect that cryptocurrencies have achieved in the last 12 years. Tom goes on to ask, what's the top 3 things we as Dojo Sovryns can do to help? So this is a key question. So many cryptocurrency projects, or even projects from other sectors, talk about brand ambassadors. And they incentivize brand ambassadors in different ways, either extrinsically or intrinsically. So motivate people because they align with the values, or motivate them extrinsically with rewards. We've been very, very careful and reticent about doing extrinsic reward programs. We're starting though now with things like this with NFT drops and other types of incentivized marketing because it's necessary in the market. We've been relying up until this point on organic growth. What can Sovryns do as members of the dojo? Get out in other channels. Don't wait for us to be singing the praises of Sovryn. Network effect, social network effect, means getting out of your echo chamber. There's only so much that we can do to be reaching out across different social networks, across different portals. But the biggest thing that you can do is to find new people that you can explain what Sovryn is, and this is, you know, sort of like the rabbit hole that you get into when you start explaining Sovryn to people that don't know about Sovryn. You might have to explain Bitcoin, and you might have to explain Ethereum, and it takes a lot of work. So you know, get out there and talk about it. Drive people to our wiki. Drive people to the channels where they can get information. Create your own content. You know, it's very we've seen, you know, artwork created around Sovryn, but there's not really a lot of memeing going on that's outside of our own echo chambers. So the biggest thing that the Sovryn Dojo can do is to be reaching out to other channels and finding people that that you can also talk to about Sovryn. Also, you know, doing these things, doing an AMA is and asking us these questions, providing us your input is also another excellent thing that we're encouraging, and we're going to be doing this regularly with the dojo. Tom also goes on to ask if the Pop Syndicate is rather active behind the scenes, or are they more passively invested in Sovryn's success, and how is the collaboration going? Okay, so all of the organizations and individuals that were involved with the Syndicate are in various levels of communication with different members of the team where there's different business proposals that are being worked on. These things, again, take time. As I mentioned earlier in the podcast, the Ascendix listings and the Gate listings were original Pomp Syndicate investors. That was in April. We're now here at the end of September, and it took that amount of time to coordinate those activities that are happening with those partners. So yes, all of the investors from the Syndicate are involved with Sovryn's success. They're all long-term investors. They're not the type of investors that are looking to pump and dump. They're looking forward for the long term with Sovryn. So they'll be around and collaborating with us and definitely assisting in any way that they can to ensure the success of the project. Tom goes on to ask if we can talk about Sovryn's marketing plan, the activities, goals, and timeline. I'm going to turn that over to Malva. He'll be doing the next dojo with you guys, and we'll be seeing more on the community calls what the timelines are and the marketing plans are that are coming from him. It's all being prepared. Like I said, he's in the course of handing off his original day job. This is his last week, and next month he'll be focused primarily or solely on this, but things are in motion, and he'll be presenting those to the community, and I'm sure discussing it with the dojo. Let's see. The Dimitris, next question is, what is Sovryn's main focus in partnerships at the moment? Which protocols will benefit the most from integration with Sovryn? I think you guys have noticed that we've been talking about the Orange platform launch. So there's obviously a large focus in bringing projects that want to partner with us into the Origins Launchpad ecosystem. You've seen Mint Layer's proposal. You've heard about the Zero protocol. These things are upcoming and in the works, and we have a large focus and are devoting a team internally into assisting John Shevin in launching Origins. So that's one focus. The next focus then is with data science providers like The Graph and Covalent. So we're looking not only to partner with them for our internal data service needs for the DApp, but also in providing them to the community so that they can be building their own dashboards. This has actually been in motion for many weeks, and you'll see a lot more progress in this quarter. Hackathons are going to be continuing. So you've seen the 1 million wallets announcement, which involves us and Covalent and RSK and Tropicus Finance. which is also a feature that you're going to be see integrated with the Sovryn platform. So there's many things that are going on. Actually, probably even too many moving pieces for my small brain to keep track of. Remember, we're not a company, and we're a group of individuals that are gathered around the Sovryn protocol, and things are coming in from all sides. And sometimes it even takes time for us internally to hear about things that are in a very advanced stage of development before it is that some of us even internally hear about it. So. Pay attention to the community calls. This is where it is that we come together and inform each other, both inside of the team and the wider community. Yeah. So then moving on, the next question is from Desmond. He asks about the team has engaged several agencies to assist on the marketing front. I spoke about that in an earlier question. I'm not gonna repeat myself. He also asked whether we've considered leveraging tapping into the VCs and Pomp Syndicate to help promote Sovryn. Yes, we do that, but maybe it also involves to the degree to which they want to be communicating about Sovryn and how, and so that's up to them. But like I said, these conversations are ongoing. It's not necessarily something that ends up in a specific partnership agreement announcement, but it's ongoing and part of their participation in Sovryn. They're also literally only community members in that sense that are involved with the project. Vroomzito asks, when will we be able to buy clothes with Sovryn symbols and other stuff? Well, that's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, actually. There is a store, a Shopify store that has been built by a community member and has been waiting for us to get together which actual products that want to be offered on there. This has been the purview of Sue, our creative lead, who's, as you know, primarily been focused on the front end of the DApp. And all of the updates that are coming there in product. I would expect that we would be able to, in the coming quarter, be providing a hot swag store with all of the great artwork and the branding for Sovryn. So look forward to that for this quarter. Has the Sovryn team heard of Coin Bureau? Asks Stefan81. No, personally myself, I've never heard of Coin Bureau. As a crypto-focused YouTube channel, he writes, and maybe a good marketing idea if you can post a video on Sovryn. So this is the area of influencer marketing, and influencer marketing is essentially paid content. As it is, most of these channels, or maybe even all of them, request payment to talk about your product. So this is a marketing decision. It's something that we are starting to experiment with and look at what sort of reach it actually has, and how many users it actually brings to the platform. So this is work that Luca has been primarily doing in reaching out to influencers to schedule this type of content. We're experimenting with it, and we'll look at the results and see how much it actually brings to the platform in terms of users and increased volume on the platform. Igaz Kutanko asked what the marketing team is going to try and do in El Salvador. Will they try and get in touch with Bitcoin Beach there and push the Sovryn platform statewide, especially with zero interest loans that are coming up on Sovryn? So I've been involved with people that are at Bitcoin Beach for a long time. So Edon has as well, other team members, and it is definitely part of what it is that Sovryn is trying to do is work together with El Salvador authorities and companies to be bringing the Sovryn smart contracts to be implemented in partner products that would be released in El Salvador. There is some things that I'm not at liberty to discuss at the moment that will be coming up that are specifically marketing actions around increasing our involvement with companies in El Salvador that are working on Bitcoin products. So stay tuned. Stefan81 asks if Sovryn will be listing all ERC20 and BSC tokens, and if yes, when? And he also asks if Sovryn will be able to swap tokens cross-chain. So let me ask those. He's actually got a number of questions here, so let me answer those first two. So what is in the works is eventually for any token, any trading pair to be listed on Sovryn in the way it is that people can start a pool on Uniswap. There's not a specific timeline for the implementation of that yet, where anybody can start a pool, but it's definitely on the roadmap. Asks if Sovryn is able to swap tokens cross-chain. This is a sort of like I guess a mixed question. We already have a bridge, so you can basically over Sovryn, you can already move cross-chain. Which tokens that will involve in the future, we'll have to see. He also asked if there's a plan to make a Sovryn DEX app for mobile. Yes, there definitely is. It is in states of specification, and now that John Light has come on as head of product, that will be moving forward. We're in a process right now of tying up the loose ends in the DApp, and then once those things have been other messages coming in. Once those loose ends have been tied up, there'll be much more focus on a mobile version of the DApp. So the last question is from Leaves Green 11 and asks, what do you think about getting employed at crypto projects and earning a salary? Are these jobs here for the long term? What are your thoughts about the future? Will there be more and more jobs, and will they be sustainable? So I've been crypto native since 2012, and since 2012, the whole sector has grown by leaps and bounds. Whether it's on Bitcoin or whether it's on Ethereum, whether it's all of the centralized coins and chains that have been launched, yes, it is the growth sector. Is it sustainable? Yes, it is sustainable. It is the new economy. It's here, and it's only going to grow. It's not going to be stopped. It's not going to be shut down. Parts of it will be regulated. Parts of it will not be regulated. There will always be on and off ramps out of fiat, regardless of the state of regulation. And the jobs that we lost during the pandemic, I think everybody needs to get used to the fact that they are not coming back. Those jobs are not coming back. There is growth in crypto. There is growth for artists with NFTs, with projects that are building platforms around that. There's so many opportunities for jobs in crypto. The one piece of advice that I can give anybody is find any way it is that you have a set of skills already that you can apply to working in crypto, or go out and learn the skills that you can work in crypto. Learn Solidity. It is going to be a language that's going to be around for a long time. Learn how to code, and yeah, it's definitely sustainable. There's definitely a future. It's not going away. It is only going to get larger. So I would highly encourage people to become as crypto native as possible, to work for crypto companies and to work for crypto. Yeah. So that leaves it all there, and so thanks for listening to me blabber away. Thanks for the great questions. I hope that the answers helped you guys understand a little bit more where it is that we're coming from and where it is that we're going. And I will see you on the live AMA in Telegram. Exiled Surfer out.